Hello. So I thought about stuff like arguing on Twitter, and I thought about how the idea of the LGBT ideology is completely opposite to the view of free will. Like, let's say we have like one guy and guy two. If we have someone who believes in the LGBT ideology, he believes that, let's say, a man is gay, that there is no possibility but to do it, and thus rejects the idea of free will, so the choice to do gay or not do gay. Versus a Christian, going with the principle of free will, believes in three distinctions: gay tendency, gay action, and proliferation, which to a believer in LGBT falls all into being gay. So, gay tendency is when you have gay thoughts and you feel attraction to men, but do not act on them. It's like a cross you have to bear without acting on it. Gay action, or like being gay, which most laymen would call being gay, is doing the stuff like doing gay sex, trying to like do gay marriage, stuff like that. And proliferation is to try to advertise it, normalize it, and make it the common thing. So why do I think this idea of rejecting free will is dangerous? If you decide that you are gay and that is part of your identity, of part of who you are, you don't want it taken away from you. And you see someone being opposed to it as an attack on you. They're attacking you because of who you are rather than what you are doing. If I had to describe this phenomenon, it's identity as sin. You identify yourself with your sin to the point where you believe that's what you are unmistakably. And we see that phenomenon proliferate further. Because you are your sin and it can't be taken away, then we should have less lenient punishments for so-called maps, or how normal people call them, pedophiles. Because after all, they can't do anything about their sin either. So we should not oppress them as a minority. In more ridiculous ways, it comes to obese people. The sin of, not just the sin of lust, but also the sin of gluttony as an identity. And we see that commonly with phrases such as trying to get thinner being fatphobic, certain seeds being fatphobic. So, again, three divisions of the sin of gluttony. Gluttonous in the way that you have a tendency to be addicted to food. Acting gluttony, so stuffing yourself with food until you get fat. And proliferation of gluttony, trying to normalize it, make it into an identity, and try to gain rights to normalize it within society. And why does that stand in opposition to free will? And why is it dangerous? Because you tell people what you are doing is wrong, or what you are doing should not be normalized, and they take it as a personal insult or like trying to genocide them. And we see that this has deadly consequences. A month ago or so, a trans person, spurred on by this violent ideology, went up and shot multiple kids. A week later, another shooter tried to go shoot up a school because of the same violent rhetoric, but was stopped in time. And a week after that, a trans activist beat a woman to death. That's because if you make your sin an identity, then trying to disagree with your sin is trying to disagree with your existence. And if you strip people of the idea that you decide what you want to do, you decide if you want to practice gay sex, you decide if you want to act on your attractions, even if you believe that they can't be changed, then that responsibility is on them. And that's why the idea of free will is extremely important. And this is also why the tolerance is not a Christian value. It's not. Because tolerance is society-wide apathy. tolerance is seeing your son take drugs and telling him, okay, go on, do it. And that's not love either. Because that's letting someone hurt themselves, cause pain to themselves, stuff like that. Whereas Christianity teaches love, so if someone is hurting themselves, you're supposed to stop them. If someone's trying to hurt others, you're supposed to care about others and stop it. And as tolerance is apathy scaled up to a level of society, then love for your kin is love scaled up to society. And just as apathy is the opposite of love, so is tolerance the opposite of love. You can't say you love people and you're tolerant. So yeah, that's basically it. Like rant over. Identity should never be sin should never be treated as an identity, and it's a very dangerous idea. There's no such thing as I am gay. There is I have gay tendencies. Maybe I even act on my gay tendencies, or I'm proliferating gay ideology. Those are actions. You don't stop being yourself and start being a random person or are genocided if you take a step back and realize what you're doing is wrong. You are not gay. That's not the entirety of the person you are. You don't need to paint your Warhammer models in rainbow flags. You don't need to demand that certain characters in video games are gay. You don't need to demand that kids are gay to feel represented. Because that's not who you are. That's a problem you have. That's a burden you carry.